Here are my top tips to improve your rank in Rainbow Six Siege. Tip number one, stop rushing. Take your time, drone, find out some information, and go in. Don't get me wrong, rushing is a meta, you can get kills, but more often than not, you rush in, you might get a kill, and then the next thing you know, you're dead. It's not worth it. Tip number two, stop getting your drones killed during droning phase. Obviously, sometimes you can't avoid this, but just going in and pinging them over and over again is not going to help you anything. Once you know where the bomb is, go in, put your cam in a very good spot. So, like when you're entering the building, is a good example. So that way you know right away, you can check your cam, go through the door, and you know there's nothing there for a safe entry. This next tip goes along with the last one that I just mentioned, and that's don't red ping your drones constantly. It makes it a lot easier to find your drones because when you're droning and you're scanning, that's when the lights on the front of the drones are shown. It's a lot easier to find, and that's going to get your cameras killed. Intel is huge in this game, so the more intel you have, the better you'll do. So only red ping if it's absolutely necessary. Most of the time, you can literally just yellow ping and say, enemy found, ping 5, or whatever ping number you are. This next one you think would be common sense, but I see time and time again where people aren't using their utilities or their operator special abilities. Example, like a Finka going around and not actually healing her teammates when they've been damaged. You got to use it. It's a waste if you don't. If you're bringing smoke grenades or flashbangs and you're not throwing them in before you enter a room without knowing what's in there, you're probably going to get yourself killed. And for the love of God, please use your operator special abilities. Otherwise, there's no point in picking them. You could literally play anybody then. Tip number 5, and it's probably one of the most important ones, stop over peeking. Especially if they know where you are. If they're aiming right where you are and you peek, you're just going to get a headshot. Especially if you're on defense. You don't need to be peeking. Yeah, hold an angle. But you don't need to be peeking out that window. Chances are you're probably going to get yourself killed. On defense, it's a numbers game. You're waiting for the time. And if they're still not coming in and it's getting close, don't try to get yourself killed. It's probably what's going to end up happening. You're going to peek. Yeah, you might kill them, but overall, there's a good chance you're going to die too. If they come through that window, though, there's almost 100% chance that you're going to kill them instead. So, what's the better way to go there? And like I said, this one I see time and time again. Tip number 6 is if you're going to be playing ranked, get a mic. Callouts are huge. Even invest in something cheap. If you want to go farther in ranked, you're going to need a mic. You can make a plan with your team. You can tell them where you're going to put traps, what walls to reinforce. You see an enemy entering a certain stairwell, you can call out red stairwell or blue stairwell. It just makes sense. You're never really going to get it very far if you don't have a microphone and you're wanting to climb the rank ladder. So stick with quick play matches or arcade, that kind of deal. Even standard. But as for ranked, you won't go far if you can't help out your teammates by making callouts. Next tip is if you're going to solo queue, pick a good operator. The best operator I can think of for solo queuing is Zero for attack, especially because you can use his cams for your own intel and not counting on your team to do that for you. Getting on your cams, put them in good corners so you can check before you go there, right before you blow through a wall. He's got the utility too. He's got the cameras. He's got the hard breach. He's a great character for solo queue. Not only that, but his guns are very good as well. Your other option with solo queue as well is being like a support to your team. I like to do that from time to time as well. Which Finka, for instance, for attack is a great support character. Healing when your team's taking damage or before you enter. Just gives your team that slight advantage going into a battle.
Saying all this, solo queuing is not the best way to go. It's definitely better to do with a buddy or a full team. Not everybody has the luxury of that, so that's okay. So if you're gonna go solo queue, try to pick the operators that are better for solo queue. If not, definitely team up with your teammates, some buddies that you play with regularly, so that you can depend on each other for callouts. They can watch your back, that kind of deal.
To wrap this up, I'm going to put two together on this one. It's playing zones and expecting spawn peaks. So what I mean by playing zones, a good example is when you're playing Clubhouse Cash Room, for instance, with Bomb. A lot of the time I'll make the call out to say I'll start off by covering the garage. That way they storm garage and I go down and I say, hey, I go down. My team already knows where I went down. It's good communication. I think it's definitely a plus to do this. Not everybody does this though, so don't think it's like a mandatory thing, but I think it definitely helps. And then moving on to spawn peaks. So whenever you're on attack, always expect a spawn peak. So when you're running up and then you know there's a window coming up, take a quick look at it. See if the window's broken. And if it's not, then you're good to go. If it is, then I'd suggest probably pumping a couple bullets into it just to make sure there's nobody spawn peeking you. It happens a lot, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good way to get kills if you know how to do it properly. But at the same time, when you're the attacker and you're not expecting it, you're gonna get killed almost every time. And you know what? It's happened to me many times. I've learned to double check before I run in. And same thing when you're in the building, right? You want to check a room before you run full tilt into it. So same aspect. You want to check that window before you start running yourself into the open.
I'm gonna throw one more in here, and that's have patience. Hold that angle. A lot of the times I'll hold an angle, I'll lose my patience, be like, nobody's coming. And then I go look somewhere else, and the next thing you know, I'm getting killed from that angle that I was holding earlier. Time and time again, same thing. Especially on defense, you want to make sure that you just have that patience. You wait. Don't go hunting down them. That's their job, is to come and hunt you down. You want to make sure that you're making them come to you on defense. Have the patience. Make sure they come to you. Take your time. You win, even if they don't come in the building. So if they constantly stay outside, you keep it going that way. You would just wait it up. So I think it's also hilarious that I saved this one for last, to learn to have patience. All right, everybody have a good one. Like and subscribe.